Now, I want to start by saying that there is hope in Malaysia. The fact that 500 chairs are filled tonight on wet, muddy ground, the fact that all of you are here tonight shows that there is hope in Malaysia, that all of you want a better Malaysia. Is that right? It tells me that the people of Segambut has not given up on Malaysia. It tells me that Malaysians of all generations, of all walks of life, have not given up of Malaysia. Now we are here tonight because we want a better Malaysia. 我们今天在这里，因为我们希望会有一个更好的马来西亚。As YB Hannah was recruiting volunteers for this campaign election, many of you amongst us today reach out and say, how can I help? Where can I help? I can do anything. I can go anywhere. We had a 12-year-old sign up, and this is what he said. I'm 12. I'm very interested in being a politician in the future. So I thought of being a pacha for a starter. A pacha is basically a polling and counting agent. I will promise to maintain the highest level of discipline and not be dishonest in the counting process. Ladies and gentlemen, this is from a 12-year-old. Over the last few weeks, we have managed to recruit hundreds of polling and counting agents to help us in this campaign. Many of these people want to see a better Malaysia. They want to play their part in building a better Malaysia. Many of them are here today, even though they spent hours attending training sessions to ensure that they are equipped to help guard the election process. So a big shout out to all our polling and counting agents in Segambut. If you are here, please wave, please shout. A big applause to all of them. But all this shows me that there is hope in Malaysia. You are not alone in this journey. We need each of you. We need to work together to build a better Malaysia. Malaysia ini penuh dengan harapan. Dan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, we are very happy. We are encouraged to see Malaysians like you wanting to make a difference. Now, I grew up in a fairly sheltered, comfortable family in Penang. My plan then was to study, graduate, find a job, get married, have kids, settle down in the beautiful Penang, land full of food, or somewhere comfortable. Also, being a young Malaysian with family members living abroad, the temptation to migrate, the invitation to migrate has always been very, very tempting. Time and time again, my family members would ask me, why don't you migrate? Why don't you apply? Why don't you move to somewhere where you can get a better life? Now, when I was 20 years old, I thought to myself, I better do something meaningful in this semester break. So what I did was I went onto the internet, I searched, I typed out meaningful internships in Malaysia. And then I was led to a blog where a previous intern for YB Hannah wrote about their internship experience. At that time, I had no clue what politics is. I probably didn't know who the Prime Minister was, didn't know who my Member of Parliament was. But I thought, I think this is a good place to start. So long story short, I came to Subang Jaya. I started my internship. What was meant to be a 1-month internship became a 2-month internship. That internship changed the entire course of my life. On a personal note, I found my now husband. I met my now husband in that internship. But more importantly, I left the internship with a burning conviction that I can no longer sit down and do nothing as a Malaysian. Change in Malaysia begins with a faceless, a nameless generation, ordinary Malaysians like you and I. It begins with us. For me, I left that internship knowing that migration was no longer an option. I left that internship knowing that I have a role to play in Malaysia, no matter how big or how small. I left the internship with greater conviction to stay and to not pursue what people say is a better life outside Malaysia. When I see the state of our country, when I see the backdoor government, when I see corrupted leaders forming government through the back door, when I see corrupted leaders reigning in our country, when I see the mandate of people being betrayed, I am even more convinced that I must stay, no matter how big and how small. For me personally, building Malaysia was attending to residents' complaint, making sure, that I do what I can to help the people of Segambut, to address needs, to address complaints. But also for me, rebuilding Malaysia, it's about building that bridge with people of different ethnicity, people of different races, and people of different religion. So ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to think, what is building Malaysia like for you? There is always something you can do to rebuild this nation for a better Malaysia. After the Sheraton move in 2020, many of us were left in despair. Many asked, do I still need to vote? Will my vote count? Sheraton move 發生嘅事，真係濟人問，我該選嚟做咩？我選了冇用啊！嗰時舊嘅政府對嚟。Malaysia is hopeless. Many said that. 真係濟人講，馬來西亞已經沒有希望了。Ladies and gentlemen, the impossible also happened. The anti-hopping law was passed in Parliament. It was gazetted and has now come into effect. So elected representatives whom you send into Parliament, they will no longer be able to betray your mandate. They no longer will be able to betray your mandate because they will not be spared in politics. People often say, politics is bad. 很多人每次说政治是很肮脏的，你不要进去政治，因为政治是给贪污的人。像你这样的人不能生存在政治里面。真正这人讲你唔通入去啊，你入去你会变垃圾，你唔通参与政治。And that was what everyone was saying. Over the last 10 years, I had the privilege of witnessing YB Hannah Yo serve the residents, the constituents, the Malaysians, and I can confidently say that there are good people in politics. 政治里面是有好的领袖的，不是全部人是贪污，政治里面有好的领袖的， and 这些好的领袖就在西蒙里面。The good leaders can only be found in Pakatan Harapan. And ladies and gentlemen, you are privileged to have a good leader as your candidate, as your Pakatan Harapan candidate for P11 Segambut. And these good leaders can only stay, they can only stay in power, they can only take office, they can only bring change if you send them to Parliament, if you give them your trust. And I hope that you would give YB Hannah Yo another opportunity to represent you in Parliament, to be your voice again. I have seen how YB Hannah served constituents and residents, Malaysians of all walks of life. And she does that with much fear and trembling, knowing that it's you who put her in office, knowing it's you who gave her the mandate. Not one day is taken for granted. When there is a call for help, YB Hannah is always the first to respond, no matter what time of the day. On a local level, she would always be asking the team, have those lights been fixed? Has the pothole been fixed? How is the taman? Have we upgraded the taman? Ladies and gentlemen, she has your interest in mind, not just your interest, but the interest of your senior citizens and the interest of your children. In the last 4 years, she has made the effort to ensure that every taman in Segambut is upgraded, is repaired, is safe for senior citizens, is safe for children. On a national level, YB Hannah is always thinking about ways to fix loopholes in the system, loopholes in the law. How can the government better protect vulnerable groups? How can the government better protect SMEs? She's always spending time listening to different groups of vulnerable people, different groups of people, just to know, just to hear what their experiences are so that she can use her influence and the power to bring change. And ladies and gentlemen, in the 22 months when YB Hannah was a deputy minister of Women, Family and Community Development, many reforms have been implemented. Many reforms have been introduced for the betterment, for the protection of the Malaysian society. And I think that is only worthy to give YB Hannah another chance to represent you in Parliament, to represent you in the government. This people of Segambut is the leader that you want to send to Parliament. This people of Segambut is the leader that you want to represent you in Parliament, to be your voice. One who is not afraid to speak up for what is right, one who doesn't bow down to temptations of money, of power. And this is a candidate that you must send to Parliament. 这位领袖是你们一定要送去国会的，一位有大胆、有信心，要讲什么是对的，一个不贪污的领袖，这位是你要送去国会的国会议员。Now, where do we go from here, ladies and gentlemen? We must say that enough is enough. We shall not, we must not, we will not allow corrupted leaders to rule this country. We must not, we shall not, we will not allow corrupted leaders to waste and squander our resources. And we will not allow a corrupted government to neglect the interests of the rakyat. And this is what you need to do, ladies and gentlemen. You need to give Pakatan Harapan a chance to be government again. And not just for 2 years, but you need to give them a chance to be government for a full term. Can you do that? 你们要给西蒙再一次的机会成为政府。你们能不能这么做吗？ We need a clean government. We need good, qualified leaders who can lead this country to fix the damage that have been done in the last 2 years by a backdoor government. Secondly, on the 19th of November, you must go out to vote. And if you are a voter in Segambut, you must vote for Hannah Yeoh, who is the Pakatan Harapan candidate. 你们11月19号一定要出去投票，你们要投谁呢？记得一票给西蒙是一票给火箭，这个你们一定要跟你的亲戚朋友说。Now, the third thing that you need to do, we have 1 more week to polling day on the 19th of November. When you go back today or tomorrow, you need to take up your phone, you need to call your family members, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues. You need to tell them that they must go out to vote on the 19th of November. Every vote counts, ladies and gentlemen, with Undi 18 and automatic voters registration coming into effect. We are seeing a 40 to 50% increase of voters in most constituencies in Malaysia. And I think because of that, there is no longer any safe seat. So every vote counts. Take out your phone, tell your family, friends that they must go out to vote. If they don't know where they vote, take up your phone again, go on SPR's website to check where their voting station is. Is this something that you can do? 第三样，你们一定要跟你们的亲戚、朋友、邻居、同事说11月19号，他们一定要出来投票。如果他们不知道在哪里投票，你就帮他们 check 在 SBR 的 website 去哪里投。Lastly, after the 19th of November, after we win government, after we send Pakatan Harapan to Putrajaya, we must not leave Malaysia. All of you must stay in Malaysia. You must join us, join arms to build a better Malaysia, not just for yourself, but for your children. Build Malaysia for your children so that they don't have to migrate. Build Malaysia for your children so that they can call Malaysia home. I want to end by saying that Malaysia is worth fighting for, and this fight is incomplete without you and I. With this, thank you very much, everyone. 谢谢大家。